Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today to discuss just some things around COVID and also just essentially the title of the webinar when virtual webinars aren't enough, essentially. And so just kind of taking a look at that today, and we understand that everything obviously has been a complete whirlwind for you all, and so we do appreciate you taking the time. We've been doing these webinars over the last 4 weeks now, and just a very palpable sense, obviously, of everything changing so rapidly. And so here to discuss a little bit of that with you. On the panel today, we have Vanessa Diddick, who is ZeeMee CEO, and will be leading a lot of the discussion. We have Megan Nash, our Director of Outreach, Mike Crowley, who works on outbound outreach, and Sue Campbell, who leads our social and marketing efforts. So fantastic to have you all here today with us.
And before we move to the next one, Adam, I just want to jump in, like explore kind of the features around you. I know it's become a Zoom world, so everybody's probably a little bit more familiar with Zoom now than any of us realized we would be, a month and a half ago. But we want this to be as much of a discussion as it possibly can be. So write in questions. There's a Q&A feature. There's a chat. We don't really care where the questions come in. You've got our team ready to field those and also surface any that we can answer broadly for the whole group. So please keep those coming.
Yes, absolutely. Please do. So one question that we wanted to ask you all, and we were doing this as a poll on Zoom, but I think Zoom's just been overwhelmed over the last month or two. And so I'm not sure the poll feature is working appropriately anymore. But the question that we had for you, and we'll show you the results from 300 colleges over the last 4 weeks. What are you most concerned that students will miss out on now that they can't attend an admitted student event? So we just wanted to kind of compare this in terms of, what are the colleges thinking versus what are the students thinking in ZeeMee, and we'll show you the results there. So go ahead and just think in your own mind what the answer is for you, and we'll show you the results. Okay, so students meeting other admitted students, over 300 colleges answered 11% is the number one thing that they're most concerned about. Seeing the campus in person, 67%, getting questions answered, 13%, and attending sessions and presentations, 9%. There's really no right or wrong answer to this. I think that as we discussed today, it's a comprehensive approach to all of these things. But it is interesting to see how the students answered because they answered in some ways opposite of what we heard colleges saying. So what did they say? So we polled 18,000 students, a small portion of our user base inside the high school live chat on ZeeMee, and asked them essentially the same question. We know a lot of admitted visit events are being canceled. What are you most bummed to miss out on? And the majority of those students answered meeting other new students. So connecting with other admitted students. Some answered seeing the campus in person. Getting questions answered was 10%, and live webinar sessions was 10%, or info sessions was 10%. And so it's super interesting to hear what the students have to say relative to what the colleges say. And I think that there's very palpable sense amongst the students of, hey, we're missing out on that admit event. We're missing out on the orientation day, and the excitement and the energy that comes from meeting other students there is so important to those students. So what can you do to effectively mitigate that and create that for these students? So some of you may be asking, say, what is ZeeMee? What does ZeeMee focus on? We are a social app. It's a mobile app that is focused exclusively on helping connect students in vibrant, safe, and inclusive college communities that end up building strong affinities towards your college brand, end up resulting in higher yield and lower melt, and just essentially creating a situation in which students are connecting for months on end before getting to campus. We partner with all types of institutions, from very large public universities down to very small private colleges. We partner with open access institutions to highly selective colleges. And what we found is that all of these colleges, regardless of what type of institution you are, the students all want to connect with each other. The students all want to get to know one another. The students all want to build those relationships. And so ZeeMee has been successful for all of these institutions because the underlying common denominator is the student. Okay, so just at a high level, I'll talk about how ZeeMee works and then transition over to Vanessa speaking more about the specifics of ZeeMee. But the way that this works is essentially a continuous cycle of engagement. the average student on ZeeMee comes back to the app 33 times a month, so more than once a day. And that's super important because unlike a webinar, unlike other things that colleges utilize in their toolkit sometimes, ZeeMee is constantly bringing these students back to engage and connect. And so it's almost like a virtual admit event that's lasting months on end and just constantly going every single day. So the way that we do this is we launch a community for you. We can focus on inquiries, applicants, admits. Some schools right now are focused on that junior class because you no longer have campus visits or open houses. A lot of colleges that we're launching for right now are focused on that admitted student pool. And so we'll show you how we do that, but we launch that community, we invite those students in, and they begin to chat and connect. You'll see your chat literally explode overnight. We see this every time for every single college partner that we've ever launched for. The second piece of that is continuous engagement. So there's current students in the app. These are current students that right now they're quarantined, so they're at their home mostly, and they're just adding, engaging videos, talking about what is it like to be a student there. Talking about what do they do in self-isolation, what do they do in quarantine, just a continuous conversation to engage your admitted students or whoever it may be that you're focused on in your community. And they get a push notification and brings them back into the app, again, 33 times a month on average. This results in the third piece, which is really strong personal relationships and connections that ensue as a result of the students coming in daily and connecting with each other, chatting with one another, getting to know each other. They use features in the app like Friend Finder, so you can enter in any of your interests and your passions, and ZeeMee automatically matches you with other students, those same interests and passions. You can put in your lifestyle preferences, and ZeeMee matches you with, potential roommates. And so we just add features that constantly allow the students to engage and to come back and end up building these relationships that are all centered around your university.
All right, I'm going to jump in here. And so as everybody's kind of thinking about a virtual strategy is many things at this point. It's where once upon a time it was just virtual engagement. How do we connect with students who can't visit a campus normally? There's many reasons why students can't visit a campus. Now it's never been more important to think through what is that strategy of connecting with students remotely, getting them the information that they need about your campus and about your students and about committing to a particular school, but also giving them an opportunity to connect with one another. And so what are those tools in the toolkit? So some schools are running live events through webinars, live stream, things like that. Some schools have really cool virtual tours that they want to drive students to. Others are really active on social media, which is fantastic. We see ZeeMee and our partners see ZeeMee as kind of the core of everything. We are the center of all of that because we are where the students are every day, coming back, as Adam said, more than once a day. And so this is where students are really starting to build that sense of community and that sense of commitment to a particular school and to their peers. And so then we can kind of drive students to all of these other things. We can run live events in ZeeMee, and I'll share a little bit about that with you coming up. So we can run all those live events with video and chat and all of the fun things that we want to run to replicate traditionally on-campus events, but we can also help drive students to some of the other things in your toolkit and make sure that you're getting the eyeballs on them. A webinar is only as good as the students who attend. A virtual tour is only as good as the eyeballs that make it there. So we actually can help to be your quarterback to help you figure out how to engage these students on a daily basis in a remote world. We were working with Lisa, one of our partners over at Cornerstone, and we were talking about exactly that, saying, okay, we're planning your event. And I was in the meeting and said, so what else are you guys thinking about using? Are you going to be running some webinars, anything like that? And she said, no, we don't need webinars. We have ZeeMee. The most powerful thing on ZeeMee is not that you're watching a webinar, it's that you're making friends, right? So that's what makes ZeeMee really powerful, is that the students get to meet each other, they get to meet current students on campus, and they sort of deepen their relationship to one another and to your school. So this slide feels super outdated already, and the world is changing so quickly. But so I won't spend much time on this. This is really reflecting back to you all what we've been hearing from our partners over time. But while all of these were true just a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, now many of them feel almost silly. Like, of course nobody's traveling. All the campuses are closed down. There's barely any flights. Nobody wants to get on a flight. Everybody's got a shelter-in-place order in most states. It's a different world. And what does that mean? It means that we have to throw out all of these yield models that we've been operating on for years and years, and people are feeling like they're flying blind. Many schools were already feeling like it's a wild west for yield and melt anyway with some of the NACAC changes, and now we've thrown in the unpredictability or immeasurability of yield, because we don't know how students are leaning, or they feel they don't know how students are leaning. I can say we actually do know where the students are leaning. That's the power of ZeeMee. There's fewer opportunities, obviously, for students to get a feel for the campus. The students aren't stepping on campus. That, again, is a no-brainer. Even a virtual tour will give you a sense for what the buildings look like, what the green grass looks like, but are not going to necessarily give a sense of what it would feel like to be a student there and walk around and meet the people and sit in the dining hall. Those are a lot harder to communicate. And then how do you effectively, as Adam said, recruit for the next class? So there's no college fairs anymore, no visiting high schools. The high schools are all closed. How do we start engaging this next class that is very anxious and very interested in figuring out what their future looks like? And so we are seeing a massive uptick in junior engagement in ZeeMee because they are desperate for information. They're desperate for opportunities to connect. And then, if you are running webinars and live streams, there's no guarantee that students are going to attend or sit through them or pay attention. And that's where we are helping our partners as well to make sure that students are paying attention to these live events. But then there's the bigger problem. So the bigger problem is that the students are no longer meeting in person. What makes those on-campus events so special for students is that energy, the enthusiasm, the spirit of sitting, shoulder to shoulder with other students, getting to meet the current students on campus, seeing the live energy of the student panels, the current students, being able to get to know each other and go to stop by the student store and throw on those school colors before they head home so they can wear them on Monday. It's all of the real life stuff. So this poll on the right is another poll that we ran of over 20,000 students in our app. We said if you only had access to one of these things, which would be the most important in helping you decide where to attend college, and 55% said connecting with the other admits. What they really care about is getting to know who are these students who they're going to be spending 4 years of their lives with, inviting to be in their weddings down the line. These are going to be their best friends forever. These are the people they're living with. Who are these people? Is this going to be their home? And that virtual tour came in at 30%. So we think actually all of these pieces are important. Getting the important information to students is also critical. Giving them a sense of what the campus looks like is critical. And providing an opportunity for them to meet each other and connect with one another is paramount. And so we can help schools to kind of make sure that you're covering all three pieces. We also, because we have so many students, we've got hundreds of thousands of students in the app, we know what they're talking about any day, not just in a COVID environment, but we know what the trending topics are sort of broadly across the country. We also know what the trending topics are in a particular school's chat. So what are students talking about right now about that school? Often, we're able to reflect that back to our partners. So ahead of traditionally on-campus events, we can get a sense of the spirit, the energy, how excited students are. We can help kind of facilitate some of that energy, and we can reflect back afterwards how students felt about the event. Here, you can see that what's on students' minds, as you would imagine, is anxiety, a lot of anxiety around schools closing. What is the fall going to look like? They're actually also talking in our app about their proms being canceled and just kind of the really significant milestone events in their own lives and how they're trying to figure that out. Some have been joking about hosting a ZeeMee prom. And so, what is their future going to look like? And we're able to kind of share this with our partners and give our partner colleges an opportunity to get into this conversation and to address some of these concerns and some of these anxieties. We also are hearing students say their families are getting nervous about them committing to a school that's far away. So there's a lot more regional commitments. We have about 50% of our students are telling us that they've already committed to an institution, yet they haven't told the schools yet. So we're able to reflect that back to the schools and say, look, this student has told us that they're committed to your school. Really helps with those yield models. So let's look at what ZeeMee actually looks like. So it's a social app. It is an app built for students and largely built by students, because we interview students every single week to find out how what their experience is like, what can we improve, and we are releasing new features every 2 weeks. So we truly are a small startup tech company that is constantly trying to listen to our students and our users, colleges as well, and improve the product. So students come into ZeeMee to chat, to get to know each other. They can chat in really large chat groups around the schools that they're interested in going to. They can form smaller private groups, and they can form one-on-one chats. About half of our chats actually are one-on-one chats, because students start to form these really powerful relationships with one another and connections to one another. They also can see, they have this video feed that feels very familiar. It feels kind of like an Instagram feed, but this is video from schools. So this is where schools will elect student ambassadors, we call them influencers, to jump into the app and to share a little bit about what life on campus is like. They're 60 seconds or less, these videos, so they're very like quick, easy, like real day in the life type stuff. And the ones actually that our partners are creating, the students are creating from home, are maybe even better than some of the ones that they were creating on campus, because it's all about the personalities of the students, the vibe of the campus, the people. And that's really what our users care about. At some point, every school is really beautiful. Every school has a fantastic quad and a really beautiful Keystone building, on campus. But this is the stuff that makes a student decide to attend. We have other more social features. As students kind of move through your enrollment funnel, we move them into more exclusive experiences in our app. So students can find other admitted students. They can start to filter and search those students based on majors that they're interested in, based on whether they've been accepted or have committed to a school. They can filter on like their interests. We're going to show you a demo at the end of this to kind of show you how this all works. Students can also roommate match. This is one of our most popular features. They take a quiz, and we tell them who some good roommates options might be. And that it's really just another great like friend finder type tool. Lots of students actually do find roommates through it, but more importantly, they're connecting with other students and finding those friends. And then we have a bunch. Yeah,
we did have a question come in about like the adoption rates and if they're going to be better than a Facebook group.
Yes, we have. So we have lots of partners. We've run lots of tests with partners with side-by-side Facebook and ZeeMee groups. We've also compared adoption year over year from a Facebook group to a ZeeMee group. When we kind of drop out the Facebook group, we get double the adoption. And that's at every stage of the funnel. But we are also one of the only platforms that can invite students in and really get that high engagement early in your funnel. So we can pull inquiries in, sophomores, juniors in as well. And then we see, between like 40 and 60% adoption of admitted groups on average. So some of our schools have as high as 80% adoption for their admitted groups. And then 70 to 80% of our partners in the last cycle of our partners entering freshman classes, so those committed students, were in ZeeMee when they stepped foot on campus. So really high adoption rates.
Great, thanks.
Yeah. So these are features that are built more for the college side to help schools to get information to students and pull information from students. So you've got polls, events, you can figure out if students are actually going to be attending these virtual events. You can collect survey information afterwards. We've got a bulk messaging feature where you can filter and segment down all of those students in your community and send a single message that delivers to each student individually and feels like a personalized message to each student. And so you could send 14,000 messages all at the same time, comes as a push notification to the student. They drop into the app and can initiate a one-on-one message with whoever sent it. And then we have announcement channels, which are read-only channels. So it's a way for schools to get information to students. Again, they get a push notification anytime something is dropped into an announcement channel. So some schools are using this for COVID updates since the landscape has been changing almost on a daily basis. Students know that they can get all of their updates and information about what's going on campus from these announcement channels in ZeeMee. And what does this all mean? So because this is a place that students are highly engaged, because it's a place that students come to meet other students and deepen their commitment to institutions, we actually see a 2 to 4x lift at every stage of the enrollment funnel for our partners. I'd say yield and melt are really our wheelhouse. That's where we see the biggest impact for partners, but it's because students have been engaging throughout the funnel. So we see a 3x lift in yield and 2/3 reduction in melt, and that translates just in that melt stage alone to nearly $800,000 in net tuition revenue savings. So big savings, big dollars, huge return on the investment. It's one of those things that kind of makes sense because these students are deeply committed to one another. And once, if I've got a group chat of my 15 new best friends who are all attending, University X, it's really hard for me over summer to suddenly say, sorry, best friends, we've all planned out what we're going to do that first week when we get there. I've decided to go to University Y. Like it's just way less likely. And it's not just that the students are committed to your team, but they're committed to each other, and they've sort of made these promises to each other. Additionally, this slide has never really been more relevant. ZeeMee provides institutions an opportunity to engage students on a daily basis. And so we actually have seen in the previous cycle, we see that ZeeMee is as powerful as a campus visit because students are practically visiting all the benefits of a visit they're getting every single day. And so when we compare students who are in ZeeMee but didn't visit campus, they actually yield at or better than the rate of students who did visit campus but never joined ZeeMee. So, and again, it's one of those, hindsight's 2020. Of course, this makes sense things because the students are connecting to the institution every single day. And I think one of the things that this new virtual craze has made everybody come to terms with is that traditionally with on-campus events, schools have been leaving 364 days of engagement on the table, working just to get that student on campus at that one event where there's all these other days that you could be participating in a conversation with them and continuing to help them understand why your institution is the right fit for them and helping them to connect with each other to come to the same conclusion. Okay, so we also run virtual events in ZeeMee, and these events are very, very easy to execute on, and they are incredibly effective for students. And so we sit down with partners, we take a look at everything that you've traditionally done. It's very consultative. We are sitting there with you. Let's look at what your on-campus event, whether that's a junior open house, an admitted student day, or orientation. What did that programming look like? What did that day traditionally look like? What are the most important takeaways for students? Is it a sense of belonging? Do you want them to actually have filled out some registration form? Do you want them to have met 5 best friends? What are the goals that you traditionally have? And how can we translate that into a virtual space? And so we will figure out what programming we want to run over what days. We often are, for many of our partners, we're kind of breaking down this concept that events need to all be run on a single day. Take advantage of the fact that you have these eyeballs every day and run maybe 5 events over the course of a week, or run events once a week for all of the weeks leading up to May 1st, or for some schools now it's June 1st. We will help you figure out what videos you need, who from campus we want to pull in. We want to pull in the president, department heads, other faculty and staff. Which current students would be best to bring in? Do we want to bring in all those leaders of clubs and make sure that students are aware of all the different activities on campus? And then we are available to actually help execute. So we'll help you plan it all out. We'll help you promote the event, and then we'll make sure that everything goes off without a hitch. Let me show you what these things look like. So from a promotion perspective, these are a few videos that we have to show you just kind of what ZeeMee is looking like for partners. So the first one, I just want to show you how powerful a video from home can be, that it doesn't need to be a student walking around campus saying, meet my study group, walk to the dorm with me, here's my dining hall. This is a video from home, and you can see how powerful it is at communicating just the spirit and vibe of Augsburg. Let's see if I can get it to actually play.
Hi, I'm I'm Sarah. By now you've probably heard about the coronavirus, and I hope you're all staying safe. This is what I do in self-isolation. Step 1. Realize I'm wearing a sweatshirt from an opposing school in a ZeeMee video. That's better. Step 2. Get ready for the day. Look good, feel good, baby. This is usually the point where I work from home, but that's kind of boring for you, so here's some tips for self-isolation. You can paint. You can encourage your plants. You can learn a new dance. Fresh air. Bond with your roommate. Ride your bike. But the most important thing to do in self-isolation is to schedule a virtual visit to Augsburg. Students and counselors are available to chat online, so give us a call or send us an email.
Okay, I love that one. Who wouldn't want to be friends with Sarah? It doesn't matter what the green grass looks like. We just want to get to know Sarah and be best friends with her. I do, at least. I think she's great. Okay, then we help you promote the event. So in ZeeMee and outside of ZeeMee, we will work with you to figure out the right comm strategy, but some of it is really powerful in ZeeMee to utilize the tools that we have. So check out what Cal Baptist has done.
CBU Future Lancers. Sorry about that. I was catching up on the banner. I want to let you know that we have not forgot about you.
We have been super busy getting new student orientation ready for you guys.
What's up, Future Lancers? We've been preparing new student orientation for you guys. We cannot wait to see you guys there. Let me give you guys some more information. Boom.
We have our first one this Monday, May 13th. So if you sign up for this one, we are so excited to see you.
And if you have not signed up, there's still plenty of time. calbaptist.edu/orientation. Sign up. What's up, my Lancers?
I love that. And then the last one, let me show you what one live event looked like. I can say Jacksonville's strategy has been very casual, very laid back. This was the easiest thing to execute on. They decided to run this live event the day before. So this wasn't like an extensive planning strategy. They were like, okay, we're just going to go live for an info session in the app tomorrow. We promoted it out. We sent some text messages. They sent some messages. Push notifications went out. And they had massive attendance and they had huge engagement.
Courtney. I'm one of the admissions counselors here at Jacksonville University. We are really excited to hop on here and chat with you today. I'm here, Kirsten and Aaron, two of our other admissions counselors are here. Two current JU students, Connor and Grace, are also on with us. So if you have any questions for any of us, please drop them below and we will respond to you via video or chat. We'll be here until about 3 o'clock and excited. Talk to you soon.
So this event, it was a combination of video and chat. So they all introduced themselves at the beginning, and then as students are asking questions, the students' questions are being answered by their staff and current students that were in the app through a combination of video answers, text answers. It was really, they were dropping in links to the website, dropping in screen recordings of some of the forms that students needed to fill out, and it went off without a hitch. It was awesome. So what do these things look like? So part of our strategy that we recommend is that you utilize an events announcement channel to tell students what the programming is, when it's happening, and what the schedule is, whether that's a single day or many days. We can segment students into smaller orientation groups to make it a more social experience and to make it
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, guys. This is work from home. Can you take him? Thank you.
That's awesome.
He broke free.
I've got a naked 2-year-old, naked on the bottom 2-year-old who just ran in. So I apologize. This webinar recording is going to be really interesting. We're sort of in the middle of potty training mayhem. So it looks like he just broke away from his dad. Anyway, so smaller groups, orientation groups are all about like breaking the students into these smaller groups where it's very social. they have someone who's kind of guiding them through, making them aware of the programming. And those conversations happen before, during, and after an event. So that's what can kind of live on. And these relationships that students form in these smaller groups are very impactful to sort of making students feel more committed and connected to an institution. And then over on the two right screenshots, you can see kind of what these events might look like. So the example here from the financial aid chat, Dr. Harris drops in, she introduces herself, and she says, you know, I've got my team here, we're here to answer questions. The team all introduces themselves. And then over the course of the next hour, they just are answering students' questions. We see much higher engagement, or our partners are telling us they get way more questions during these sessions because it's such a safe space for students to ask those questions. So when they compare like a financial aid session in ZeeMee to a financial aid session that happens on campus, they get a lot more hand raises in ZeeMee because the students don't have to stand up in front of 100 other students. And then over on the right, you can see that Grove City. This is an event happening in Grove City. The way that this works, students can kind of click into any of the chats that they're following. Anybody who's following that Grove City chat, it is just taking off, and just one message after another. The engagement is really high. And then we run activities fairs, so we can pull in all those club leaders. They can share video. They probably are all sitting on tons of video from all the events that have happened over the course of the year. They can put together these little compilation videos. At a set time, they can share all those videos, and students can start to explore which activities they may be interested, which clubs they may be interested in joining. And then they can go learn more about them in particular chats and connect with the leaders and the members of those clubs. And then the last piece is that we make it really fun. So we help you, even if you have other webinars running or live streams or things like that, we get the eyeballs on them. If we want to make sure that students hit your virtual tour, let's use contests to do that and giveaways to do that. And so we can actually drive students to the content we want them to see, and then reward them for actually participating. It makes it really fun, adds this kind of social layer again that is really important to these events.
And then Vanessa, there was another question that came in similarly around adoption for these events. Like, is there any data around like our students actually logging in and participating?
Yeah, so we had a partner run an event recently, and they have a small number of admits. It's like 800, something like that, maybe. It's 1,200 admits, 800 of which are in the app. And it was well over 200 who attended a very like casually planned event, and 50 of them were actively asking questions. So the engagement is really high, and we're seeing that this is actually, running events is actually a great way to get more students into the app. And so promoting them and saying your virtual events are going to be here, or you're going to find out all the information about it, is a really great way to drive up students, you know, just joining the community in general as well. The other good thing is that students can also access all the content after. So when we pulled the numbers from these events that have been running over the last 2 weeks, we're seeing that after the event, there's also really high engagement, meaning that students are actually opening those channels and scrolling through and, you know, looking at all of the questions that were answered afterwards as well. So even if they missed the event, or if they just want to go back and see those questions again, something that's a little bit harder to do with some of the live streams and things like that. So what does it take to get all of this launched? It is very easy. We can stand up a new community in a day. So we have had, you know, Hofstra signed in the morning, launched that night. We had Amherst sign on a Monday, onboard on like a Wednesday, launch their community on a Friday. So it's sort of up to how quickly a team wants to get started. We can do it in hours if that's the goal. It just takes a 30-minute kickoff call, onboarding call, where we just kind of go over the whole process. We get a little bit of information from you about which students we want to invite in. and then stand the community up. And once we invite the students in, we do it all at once, because that is how you get that high energy engagement moment. We send out invites, all the students come in and start chatting, and the community just takes off on its own. And then we can worry about training the staff and making sure that you've got all your student influencers in there and all of that. We just let the community kind of take off overnight and then kind of pull your team in. And that's kind of what this slide speaks to. So kickoff call will help you add a little bit of video so that when they land, there's kind of a nice place to land. There's some video to see and a sense of what the school is like. And we can help you actually load that video in from existing content, which is why we're able to launch so quickly. And then we send out those invites and watch the magic happen. So then the next question generally is, okay, what does this all take? So we have 3 plans. The thing that really separates the 3 plans is how much data and data analysis you get back from us, how much handholding kind of in general and consulting you get from us, whether or not you have virtual events, and there's a couple other features that are a little bit different. So the light plan is really for folks who don't need virtual events and aren't very data minded or don't really need all that data back. The pro plan is where you start to get a lot of data back on the students. We can tell you exactly how many videos they've watched, chats they've sent, friends they've made, how committed they are to your institution. We can help you really understand those students and also how students in ZeeMee are converting through your funnel. We do that through these data exchanges and through monthly meetings with our data scientist. We basically just fold him, well, we've got a couple of them, fold one of them into your team. You also get all of that hand-holding through virtual events, and that's any kind of virtual event that you want to run, whether that's admitted student days, open houses, orientations. There's no limit on how much support you get from us. It's not like, you know, set number of hours or anything like that. And then at that $65,000 plan, we also will help you synthesize all the student level data. So while we're delivering the raw data to you on the pro plan, at the $65,000 plan, we are also synthesizing that and helping you understand which students are most committed. You know, these are the students who are most committed, and these are the students who've actually committed elsewhere, and where those schools are. And we can also help you just kind of understand that information a little bit better. We do some custom product development at that premier tier as well, and some other custom communications and more regular data exchanges with one another. We are also offering a 4-month option of pro for folks that just have an acute problem that they're trying to solve. They want to run virtual events for juniors, admitted students, and committed students. And so they just kind of need to get through this 4-month period. That's $10,000 for 4 months. Any other questions, team? Otherwise, I'm going to actually kick it over to Megan to run a demo, but keep the questions coming.
Okay, we should be able to see my phone screen now. Is that right?
Yes, we can.
Very good. With all my unread notifications and all their glory, we can focus on the ZeeMee app here. Like was mentioned earlier, students download the ZeeMee app for free on iOS or Android. They can also log in on the web, but we see the vast majority of students using the mobile app like you see here. And I'm viewing the mobile app like a student, so you can imagine if you were to move forward and you wanted to invite your admitted students into the ZeeMee app, this is how they would experience the mobile app. When I open it, I'm immediately dropped into, we call it the Discover tab, that's aggregating video from all of the universities I'm following. The videos have sound, but just for simplicity, I'm not going to play that. We can see the captions here, the views. These are either uploaded from current students or people in your admissions office that want to get involved, or other campus leaders can get really creative with the types of videos that are shared. But the idea is that all of these videos that are being uploaded to the university's feed are really telling the story of the campus culture and showing students what life is like on campus or off campus, as the case may be. We can see in some cases, students don't have to take a video, don't have to respond to just whatever's on their mind. They can actually respond to a specific question that we've preloaded into the ZeeMee app. So we're helping your students tell your story better with these prompts, like we see here for University of the Pacific. If I go to one college in particular, actually, let me just tap over to University of the Pacific. we can see on this specific university feed the number of students that they're following the university, and that's the number that really explodes once you send invitations to all your students. That launch day that Vanessa was describing. It's super exciting to see that follower number grow and the group chats just explode with activity. The official accounts is anyone you want to be involved in the ZeeMee app, current students creating content, or admissions counselors maybe that you'd like to have in the ZeeMee app to answer questions from students. And then once students are admitted, they can join the community there, and then we see all the video from the university down here. Great. I'm going to tap over to the group chats down here since that's where the bulk of the activity in the mobile app takes place. We can see each university has their own group chat channels. I'm following way more universities than the average student, so I've got a lot more than a regular student might see. I'm going to go into Grove City here so we can see what these group chats look like. To get you oriented really quickly, the group chats are broken down into 3 buckets for inquiries and applicants here. These are public channels that anyone can join. And then more exclusive channels for admitted students exclusively and enrolled students down here. And students can access these exclusive admitted student groups if we have a data exchange set up, so we'll know on the back end which students have been accepted and they'll get automatically placed here. Or students can upload a picture of their acceptance letter, and that's verified on our side by real human eyeballs. Now let me show you these admitted student groups. In the announcements channel, we saw a screenshot of this Vanessa shared, but just to show you live, this is where the counselors are coming in and they know they've got 70–80% of their admitted students actively engaged in ZeeMee, coming back every day. So they know when there's an announcement they need to share, this is where it's going to get seen. So we can see Grove City has done that, uploading a schedule for the admitted student week and keeping students updated on everything that's happening in the announcements channel here. And then these different chat channels are totally customizable, like Vanessa was describing. They've broken down into different groups for these orientation, smaller groups. And I'm going to take you into one of them here. Actually, I want to take you into this one, class of 2024. So we can get a sense of what students are talking about in this class of 2024 group. I think it's fun that one of the current students dropped a poll into this group chat, but it's fun. Students are coming in every day. They're starting to develop relationships with each other, and they have this type of conversational rapport that I think is super important for admitted students to develop with each other so that they feel really connected to the campus and that they feel really comfortable, seeing themselves as an enrolled student, and especially with all the uncertainty and everything happening now, that they really feel safe with this group of people. Let me know if there are any questions coming in on the group chats, and please, if you have a question about something I've shown you so far, type it into that chat or in the Q&A so I can address that here. But if there's nothing, I'm just going to keep moving until I get interrupted. Showing you the friend finder here. I'm going to update my filters so we can see how students are finding different friends at the universities they're interested in. We can see, I can choose the different colleges I'm following. So let me see the students at Amherst that have also been admitted and are interested in photography. I have 103 matches that have also been admitted to Amherst and are interested in photography. From here, as an admitted student, I could either see the profiles and direct message any of these students, or maybe I want to create a giant group chat for all of us, all 103 of us, photographers at Amherst, and I want to start some type of student club or some type of meetup for all of us once we get to campus in the fall. And then the roommate matching quiz here, Vanessa mentioned, is super popular. And then there's a study buddy feature for enrolled students as well. One last thing I wanted to show you is one of my favorite features in ZeeMee. Once students are admitted, they have the option to declare their status. So we can see now my status at ZeeMee University is that I'm not going. But once I've made up my mind and I want to tell all my friends in ZeeMee, I can declare that I am planning to go. Nice celebration moment in the mobile app, and if you were looking carefully, you would have seen the confetti is ZeeMee University colors. And then when I hit use filter, all of a sudden I have two faces on your screen, and this will be branded with your university's logo, and students can share that selfie to ZeeMee or other social channels. Of course, students are motivated to take this action because then they can filter down by the other students that have also said that they plan to go to the university. I think students are always, they're looking for more and more exclusive groups, and they really want to know who else has the same level of commitment that I do. And you may be wondering, you know, if you will find out on your side of the desk, yes, when a student takes this action, you'll get an email to let you know the student has said they plan to go to the university. And we find that oftentimes that is before they've submitted an enrollment deposit. So that can be really, really useful information for you all. I think that's it for me, unless there were specific questions in the mobile app, or Vanessa, you think I should take this somewhere else?
No, I think that's good. I think this is probably a good place to stop, and we're happy, you know, fill out that type form if you want a quick call with us, or if there's specific questions we can answer about, you know, every institution's different, needs are different. So if we can answer some of those. So thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you for sitting through my wild 2-year-old's interruption. Yeah, we hope you all have a good rest of your day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.